Network Entertainment.
And welcome to the RJ Ledesma Podcast. In my podcast, I like to speak to business leaders and entrepreneurs to learn more about how they think about doing business, what are their success secrets, and can we replicate those in our own businesses? And more importantly, what business opportunities do they see emerging in the near future? Another good friend from the real estate industry, a good friend, a good colleague, Mr. Eddie Boy Santos. Eddie Boy, thank you so much for joining us over here on the RJ Ledesma Podcast.
Good day, RJ, and hello to all the fans of RJ watching today. And I'm really glad that you invited me after finally so many months.
Yes, fantastic. I finally got time. Guys, just to let you know, I'm very happy to have Eddie Boy over here. He is a church mate at the same time. He is a pioneer in the real estate industry. This year, he celebrates 25 years of Remax Regent. It was originally Regent Properties, which he put up, and he eventually became the master franchise holder of Remax Philippines. So it was renamed to Remax Regent. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On
That's
the 25
correct.
years.
Yeah. So it wasn't an easy journey. What happened was in 1997, actually, I was a stockbroker from 1994 to 1997.
Interesting.
Fresh out of the Ateneo University. So we made lots of money because it was a bull run. And all of a sudden, the market crashed in 1997.
Oh, wow.
So one day, my boss comes in, you're all fired because we're going to close the company tomorrow. I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So a lot of my clients, I was handling high net worth individuals back then. They said, you know, Eddie, you're a good salesman. Sayang naman yung talent mo. Why don't you sell or rent our properties? So that's how I began. But it wasn't an easy journey. I knew nothing about the brokerage industry. In fact, when I got their properties, it took me 2 years. 2 years to close my first transaction. So 0, for 2 straight years. On the 13th month, I said, if this lasts another month, I'm broke. I will have to accept the offer I had at I think it was Procter and Gamble. And then buti na what happened was on the 12th month, deals started coming in. My first rental, and then afterwards another rental. So it was enough for me to really pay off my obligations. And then in 2000, I set up my own office, Regent Properties. So still, you know, deals were coming in trickles, but it was a small office. It was easy to manage. And in 2004, things turned for the better. It was the start of, you know, many years of progressive real estate boom for the Philippines, owing to the fact that the economy became better and prices year after year after year became all-time high. So I was pretty much glad that I was able to start during those years because it laid the groundwork.
Well, fantastic. I love your story. Actually, you've kind of summarized my whole show for me right here.
No, it's just a start.
Yeah,
There's
a
so
start.
many more.
But anyway, I want to understand also because what appears to me from our discussion, I've seen sort of like where you came from, and what was kind of key was that you were a very good salesperson. And you know, in real estate, you know, sales is key, like in any other business. But what particularly did you learn about yourself, about sales, that you think made you exceptionally good? What was the skills that you had about sales?
You know, you have to know your market quite well. I mean, if you're going to concentrate in real estate, in putting up a real estate brokerage, you have to know the market, the prices, the zonal values, the location. These are all keys. And of course, honesty, integrity, and dedication to your craft. Those are 3 very important virtues that one must possess.
Wow. So let's go back a bit about your story. Were you really built to be an entrepreneur when you started off, or was it something that you just came across because you know the opportunity fell in your lap? Because what was your background growing up?
Growing up, actually, my parents were in the field of real estate already. They used to have an arcade together with my grandfather, and they were just managing it. The owner's actually my grandparents. It was Angela Arcade. So back then, I used to type their contracts. So typewriter, my mom would ask me, you type this contract, and it's never ending. Once a contract's done, a new one comes in and a new one. So
For new lessees. For
new lessees. So by the time I graduated from college, I kind of memorized already the elements for a contract: the pre-termination clause, the security deposit, the tenure, and things like that. So it was also a good start, and it actually probably paved the way for me for my entry into real estate. But then again, it's a different, typing and really going out in the field and showing properties to client are two different things talaga.
So, why did you choose to, let's say, when you graduated college from the Ateneo, you choose to go to stock brokering at the start instead of going into real estate? Well,
Okay.
what is the story there?
Actually, it was my cousin. He was in the investment banking industry. He said, "Oh, there's a brokerage that's in need of young stockbrokers that they will train." So I graduated. I think that was March 27. March 28 was my first day in the job. I didn't have a vacation. Can you believe that? So I started, and it was a good start because back then, the stocks. You buy anything, it will go up 10, 20, 30%. By the 1995 Ben Press listed, 3 pesos and 50 cents. When it opened, 15 pesos kagad. So we actually made so much money. So during the earlier days. But then what happened was 1990, it crashed. Everything we made were on margin. Everything crashed and wiped out kaming lahat.
Wow. What is the best lesson that you learned coming out of working in the stock market?
Coming out of the stock market, you always have resilience. Early on in life, I had a good time in the stock market, but in the end, it was disaster. You have to learn to stand up. I mean, you might fall once or twice, but what's important is really getting up. So what happened was, 2004, the market became better, and then I realized that it's infiltrated by a lot of unprofessional people. So I was searching what would be a good brand to bring here into the Philippines. So in 2011, I did the research. So there was Century 21, Keller Williams, and then there was Remax. So we applied for the master franchise with Remax, and at the same time, there's also two couples who wanted to bring in Remax in the Philippines. So that's John and Liz Dueñas out of Guam, and then Leonard and Gina Campos. So the five of us put up Ducasa Ventures, which got the master franchise for Remax here in the Philippines.
I see, I see. Very interesting story over here. So it was a story first of resilience, then eventually growth. Now, when you started off with after the stock brokering, the opportunity came about to sell real estate. I guess what is the common denominator was that you were talking to high net worth people. Was it something that you built because of, I guess, your background in common schools, common friends, or was it something that you had to build over time?
It's funny. When I was struggling to put up Regent properties, I wanted to scrimp. So I said, I'll concentrate around the Makati area. So this happens to be Bel Air, Magallanes, Forbes Park, and Dasmariñas Village. Of course, the prices then they're pretty much affordable back then because these were in the 2000s. We were coming out of the Asian crisis. And so I said, I think, I'll have a niche marketing where I'll just concentrate in the Makati area. There's some brokers, they do the whole Philippines. I can't do that. They sell Ilocos, they sell Tagaytay, they sell Makati, Parañaque. My particular brokerage, we concentrate in Makati. So we did rentals and leases. The good thing about leases, every 2 years, the tenant leaves. Because there's times about 2 to 3 years. So these are the embassies, the multinationals. So, 3 years, they move on. So it was a steady business coming through us if we were able to house them.
I see. When you were doing initially Regent and putting it up, like you said, it took you 12 months, right, to actually get your first
24 months actually.
to almost 2 years. So kung
Yeah, 2
ganyan,
years.
was there a time that you wanted to actually say, this is not for me, I'm gonna quit and go find
Yeah.
another corporate job?
Yeah, I said, if on the 25th month, which is a little over 2 years, wala pa, I'll call it quits and really, put in my application to some of the, go back to corporate, which I don't think would be suited for me. I mean, thinking back, because I think I had the heart of an entrepreneur, really. I love challenges, I love opening up businesses, and I love really the company of training people along the way.
So what kept you going in those 2 years that you didn't?
Oh my gosh, mommy and daddy. When everything all fails, mom, can I borrow some money? And then the good thing, they said, yeah, we'll support your dreams. Whatever you want it to be, we will be there for you.
Great, great. And then what did you do? Let's say the 25th, well, the 24th, right? You got your first big break. Tell us a bit more about that struggle when you started building the business. How did you start building it up, building it up?
Okay, if you put up a business, the reality is you make money on the first or second year. That's a cardinal rule. You make money. So in the earlier days, I'd always have to sell. Rental pa lang nun. I'll have to rent out a property, get the commission there, and pay for my overhead. So I put up an office, just a small office back then, 65 square meters. But then, if you're alone, no partners and all that, the rental, electricity, the water dues and association dues falls on your burden. So you really have to close one transaction at least a month in order to make payroll and make ends meet. So things changed when I started selling property. So I sold a property in one of the exclusive villages. And now it allowed me to expand, to hire more agents, to have a staff car. So whatever I made money back then, I plowed it all back into the business.
Now, when you were building it, I often tell people that you've got to build sort of like a secret sauce to your business. Like secret sauce means that that's your unique competitive advantage that nobody can easily emulate. Kunyari, it's either access to networks, access to connections, access to services, or specific skill sets. What did you start seeing was becoming the secret sauce or competitive advantage that Remax had, or rather at the time Regent had, that not other, I guess, brokerages had at the time?
For me, the best advertisement is a satisfied customer. More than the flyers, more than back then Manila Bulletin, we were like advertising there. For me, the best advertisement is a satisfied customer because they'll say, "Hey Eddie, I'm so happy with your service. The title I got in 4 weeks instead of like 10 months in other companies. I will recommend you to my friends." And when they recommend friends, the other friends start recommending. So name recall is very important, and doing a good job, even after sales servicing. These are all very important things because the client remembers you.
We talked about earlier on, you were an entrepreneur, but you had the heart of an entrepreneur because you like challenges and you like solving people's problems. What particular problem did you think was Regent solving that other businesses weren't solving or other brokerages weren't solving as well as you did?
Okay. If a client will go around and then let's say I want to see a 2-bedroom condominium in Makati, there's some agents that just show one or two. Kami, we really have a deep inventory of properties. So with one showing, we can show 8 or 9 properties. So much so that we, it's a lot of probability. So we have 8 times more or 9 times more the probability of closing it because we showed 8 to 9 properties. The other agents, they just show 1 or 2. So it's very important to have an understanding of the market and also have a deep inventory of properties. Because with that, instead of the client going to 4, 5, or 6 other brokers out there, they just patronize you.
I'm curious to find out that, so one of your secret sauces was really building a good understanding and also getting a deep inventory. I mean, other people can also build deep inventories. How come you were able to do it better than others, I guess?
Because we have a internal system, we have a computer software that really updates properties almost on a daily basis. For most of the villages, our forte really, for Remax Regent, it's actually, we do ultra high-end homes. So we're kind of the byword when people want to buy a property in the exclusive villages, most especially in Forbes Park and Desmarines Village. But don't get me wrong, if a client comes to us and say, "Hey Eddie, my daughter is getting married, can you find me a studio, which is I'm gonna give to her as a wedding gift?" Of course, we do that. We're able to source that one.
I find as very interesting. Now, so the business of Regent is growing and growing. Was there a point where you finally said, because for many entrepreneurs they go, "Wow, I can't believe I made it," or parang was there a particular deal or a particular situation where you said, "Wow, Regent is somewhere"?
Well, I guess when we first sold the first 1 billion peso home.
Wow.
This was in 2017. So, I thought it was a glass ceiling. So, when we sold the market was really buzzing on who's the buyer, who's the seller. I think that was when I said, "Oh, we finally arrived."
Wow, good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Great job.
Hi, I'm Red Oliero.
Hi, I'm Andrew Bernardo.
And we are the Bago Matulog with Red Oliero podcast.
Members.
Yes, we are promoting our podcast and sana makinig kayo sa podcast namin. Yun lang. Thank
Please.
you. Yay. Please, we need money.
And the interesting thing is, I was looking at your story. So it's Regent, and then in 2011, you started looking for a partner, or rather an international franchise partner for your brokerage. My first question is, why did you need a partner there if you guys were doing very good here?
Okay, we wanted to replicate our office into multiple offices. So I researched out there what would be a good system. So there were actually three. There was Keller Williams, there's Century 21, and then there's Remax. We're all friends in the industry. So I said, I'll pursue my application for Remax. Remax is actually stands for real estate maximums. We give you the maximum commissions, we give you the maximum exposure, the maximum training, and the maximum technological tools. So it's based out of Denver, Colorado. It began in 1973 by Dave and Gail Lineker. So they awarded the master franchise for the Philippines to me. And so today we have 41 offices and
Wow.
over 500 real estate agents working hand in hand. So it was a good journey because in 2012 the market still continued to go up. So right now we have 41 offices owned by different owners because it's a franchise network. So almost on a weekly or monthly basis, I give trainings internally, locally, national, internationally.
And that's you training them mismo.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I train
fantastic,
them, oo.
fantastic. Maybe you can give a little sample of the training in just a bit. But in the meantime, that's very interesting because 2000, like you said, 2011, you were able to apply for Remax.
In 2012, they awarded the
And they
franchise
awarded
to us.
to you. My question is also because people are also compete for franchising. But what made you think your application more, I guess, more appealing? Oh.
Yeah. Well, I sent in our credentials, and then, thankfully back then, there were, I think, 4 or 5 different applications for the Philippines because it was booming. And then they looked at the credentials, they look at how long have we been
In the industry.
brokering in industry, and there's an interview. And so we were lucky because in the interview, a lot of the questions I could easily understand and really convey my vision to them. I told them, we plan to have 100 offices in the next 15 years, and then we hope to be among the very best agents in the Philippines. And then we told them that the Philippines is really a very beautiful country, all things like that. And you know what? Fast forward to today, we have several Filipinos ranked among the top real estate agents within the Remax network of 140,000 in terms of commission sales.
Bravo,
Yeah.
great
So
job.
in the top 10, in the top 100, we have about 7 or 8 Filipinos there.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
And when you brought in Remax, what was the game-changing effect, I guess, no? When you brought in, because I mean,
Yeah.
this is Regent running things, but then so Remax, we understand they brought in a system, but what made it a game-changing system?
Okay, that's a very good question. When people join a brokerage as an agent, they get paid. None of our 500 agents and support staff are paid staff. They pay us to affiliate themselves to us. What's paid for? The secretary, the bookkeeper, the drivers, they're all paid. But then none of our agents are paid staff. In exchange, we give them a high commission split. So they engage their services with us. We give them the tools, the technology, the trainings. And in exchange, we give them 60% of the commission that they take home, and 40% will go to the Remax network. So we found that a win-win scenario because they realize the value that we give in, they realize the culture, and then we are able to really expand their network. When we train them, sometimes they sell one property every 3 months. Within the Remax network, because of the training, some of them can sell 4 or 5 properties in a month. We had one agent last year, her name's Betty. She sold 133 transactions. She did 133 transactions last year. So we were joking her, Betty, next year your quota is 365.
Amazing. So it's really the system that you picked up from Remax is really what's been the game changer of
Yes.
the technology, or the secret sauce is right now what Remax has brought to the plate to improve their ability to market or
Yeah.
to sell properties.
We call it MLS, which is widely used in the United States, but it's something new here in the Philippines. The MLS is multiple listing service. So all our agents, they upload their listings online in their portal, and you have to have an authority to sell, to upload, so that you will separate the curious from the serious sellers. So we have that one. And many times, before a property even goes out to the general public, it is sold within the Remax network, broker agent to agent from within two offices. So I think that was a game changer that we brought here. And at the same time, of course, if instead of dealing with a stranger, you would rather deal with a friend. So that also became a key factor. We became one big fraternities of brothers and sisters within the organization. So much so that we entrust our clients to them. Ikaw na bahala. You show it to them. Or here's the listing, here's the number of the owner. Just call them directly, and we just split the commission.
I see. So it's a matter of collaborating. So you can different franchises can collaborate with each other for a sale. They all have access to the same sale.
Yeah,
I
you
see.
got strength in numbers or premier market presence, PMP, premier market presence.
Okay. Share with us me right now. I mean, it seems to me that it's really the system is the secret sauce.
Yes, because when you get to the Remax, for each agent that comes in, we house you in a particular office. And then people, if you think you're more savvy and you want to take it one step further, we can sell you a franchise. So it will take you 4 to 5 years to really roll out your business, getting clients, getting established. We jump started to 4 months.
Wow.
And the ROI based on the last few it's 6 months.
So how does basically one start off when they come to you? Do they say that I want to buy a franchise from you at once, or do they have to show something that they're capable of putting up a franchise?
Yeah, we look at several things: the motivation. We look at the financial background because we want strong offices that could weather the ups and downs of life. And of course, very important is the passion. When we tell them to buy a franchise, don't expect that money will come raining from the heavens. What you put in is what you bring back. So we tell them you have to put in at least 50 to 60% of your time into establishing the franchise. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
I see. Do you also have to be, like I understand locally, do you have to be a broker to start off a Remax franchise?
A good question. You don't have to be a broker because we call you a business owner. However, once you open your Remax office, at any given time, you have to have at least one licensed broker.
That's right.
Because that one licensed broker can carry 20 salespersons underneath that one. So it's very important that there's at least one. Now, the owner, just like a McDonald's franchise or a Jollibee franchise, you don't need to be a chef or a cook to buy one.
I see.
But then most of our agents are really, most of our broker owners are real estate license holders.
And what have you seen? Because I'm sure you've seen successful franchisees and not so successful franchisees over the years. What have you seen are the common characteristics of successful franchisees?
The successful one, they're really hungry. We have some agents, once they close a deal, the next day they fly out, they spend everything. The more established franchise or the more successful, they put it back into the business. They continue to find good talent out there. You don't believe. Some of our top agents are not licensed brokers. They're salesperson. We have two who actually they're housewives, best friends, housewives, and never had experience in real estate. They were discovered, and then this year they're among the top real estate agents in the Philippines. They were able to close. I think about 40 or 50 properties together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you see aside from being hungry? What have you seen in terms of what do they have to build? If you were to build that ideal salesperson or that ideal person, what would the characteristics of that person be that you've seen?
Yeah, you have to have honesty, integrity, and really dedication. These are very important factors into growing your business. There are many times that it's tempting because there's a lot of money. One of the most important investment a person would make in his lifetime is buying a house. It's the single most expensive asset that he will keep throughout many generations. And sometimes people overprice, not within the Remax. We really scold people if you overprice. You have to quote the price given by the owner. That's it. No more, no less. So, I'd like to think that we were able to professionalize in the industry by educating the agents out there to become honest, dedicated practitioners.
You said that you spent a lot of your time as a trainer.
Yeah.
What exactly what is it sort of training that you actually give them? Is it is it motivational? Is it
Okay.
skill set training?
Yeah, I give motivational talks. I also give training, one-on-one training, mentoring. Sometimes they call me, hey, Sir Eddie, I have a problem because I closed this transaction and then all of a sudden the seller backs out. What do we do? So things like that. And then sometimes they tell us, I'm fighting with another agent because like this, like that, like that. Sometimes it becomes personal. So I'm there also. We have a grievance committee. We activate it every now and then when there's some dispute out there. And of course, we have the ethical committee on ethics, wherein if there's a rogue agent within their system, we kick them out.
In terms of training, share me a bit more. What is the best training that you've given that you think is very effective? Not just for Remax, of course, but in general that you've seen that can be beneficial for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and sales. I call them sales entrepreneurs.
Okay, I have this particular topic, which is quite well received. It's from 0 to 1 billion pesos in sales. So every time I talk about the past, the difficulties, the challenge, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and then at the end of it all, the success we've made in life. And it serves as an inspiration to the people out there. At the end of the talk, they say, Eddie, I'm inspired and I'm really pumped up, and it feels good because I thought, just sharing my story, but unbeknownst to me, it's actually inspiring a new generation of real estate agent. Tayo kasi we're already in our, parang we're in our, how would I say it, midpoint in our lives.
Yes.
So there's now generation alpha.
Yes.
You know about that one. So parang, we're getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So the legacy we'd want to leave behind is a legacy of really honesty, integrity, and dedication.
Share us a bit more naman of your inspirational story that you give there sa 0 to 1 billion. Maybe you can share something that you...
Yeah, well, it began when the first 2 years of my real estate career, zero sales, really zero. The phone wasn't ringing. There was really no, not even a small rental sale for a studio. Talagang zero. And on the 23rd month, I said, if nothing still happens, I'll really walk out and really go back to corporate. Thankfully, buzzer beater on the 24th month, we were able to do a rental. And then the following month, another rental, another rental, another rental. So it helped pay for the bills. And then I think on the first year that I put up my office, after the 2 years, we had more sales coming in already. So right now, year after year after year after year, things just got better and better. And what happened was, to this day, as we still talk, I think prices are still at an all-time high for some sectors.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah.
If somebody is interested here right now to become part of the Remax franchise, whether as a franchise holder or somebody
As an agent.
as an agent in Remax, how do they go about that?
Well, they could send us an email. So that's eddiesantos@remax.net. And then we will point them to the proper direction. So we've had really, we had this one broker owner. He used to take a jeep going to work. And what happened was he assembled, a few of his friends into buying a Remax franchise. Ngayon naka-BMW na siya.
Ba, okay yan. Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. And when they join, you will be trained internally.
Yes, that's our commitment. We have an onboarding. Actually, the complaint that we have, sir, we're overwhelmed with training because there's so many modules. Some of them are uploaded in the Remax University. We have modules there, more than 2,000 topics about real estate, about life, about motivation, about hurdling challenges. So we have a big library of many different topics.
Fantastic. Now, I wanted to go now, Eddie Boy, into the current real estate scene here in the Philippines. And I wanted to get a bit more of your perspective because there have been recent articles coming out or opinions coming out about there's an oversupply right now of condominiums in the Philippines. And they say that it's going to take a couple of more years for us to
Yeah.
get rid of this glut. Is it a nationwide thing? Is it or is it in a
Actually,
specific
there's some
area?
reports that I read that there's like inventory for the next 4 years for condominiums and homes. We have a different perspective. You know what? The millennials are coming of age right now. Before, they really want to travel, fancy dinner. Now they realize they're not getting any younger, so they really want to buy real estate right now. Although I must admit it's really overvalued because 20 years straight, the market has increased and increased. And the developers, what happened is every time they have a new project, it's all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. The market can just take so much. This is my challenge. Bring down the price 20%. I'll sell all those inventory.
Got that. Okay, I like that.
20%, yeah.
Okay, so Eddie Boy is issuing that that challenge and opportunity for our developers out there.
Because we're blessed with 110 million Filipinos. And then you look at Hong Kong, as far as I can see, it's like skyscrapers, and their population only 20 million. So what I'm driving at, the children of today have now aged. So what happens was, instead of traveling, buying all this fancy gadget, they now want to buy homes. And we have some clients. Their names are very ordinary. They don't come from the Taipan families or from old rich family. They're able to buy condominiums worth 40 million, 50 million. I ask sometimes, I always do this. Like, I hope you don't mind, but how did you make your fortune? Sabi niya, I have a Shomai factory, or I have a internet. A few naman Bitcoin. We invested early on in Bitcoin. It's very fascinating. There's a lot of money, hidden out there.
That's our job to tap as Remax. Now, I want to ask also, are you also seeing other business opportunities emerging from your particular perspective, whether it is as an investor, as an entrepreneur, as an agent, that if you had the time, you would do it, but since you don't actually touch it, but you're seeing opportunities that are arising.
Yeah, okay. With the growing population of 120 million.
110, yeah.
Yeah, of course, the restaurants, the food industry, they'll forever be there. We actually have a restaurant. It's a side business, but between the restaurant and the real estate brokerage, real estate brokerage is a little bit more special to me because one of the most important asset a person will buy is a home. So it's a home wherein they really have their treasured memories, when they would see their kids have their first communion, celebrate important milestone. So every time I sell a property to a client, he always says, Eddie, thank you for the house that you brought us so many good memories on that one.
I see. And then, as we should start to wrap up this conversation, Eddie Boy, it's been very interesting. I think many people will learn a lot from it. What's your advice for beginning or even a bit seasoned real estate investors when looking at the Philippine property market?
The number one most asked question of me, Eddie, should I buy property today? Okay, this is my reply. Not even the very best broker can tell you the market will go up or the market will go down. If you could afford it and the price point is attractive to you, buy it. Especially people who are aged between 40 to 50. It may go down, but in your lifetime, you will see it go up again. And then I strongly urge you to buy 4 or 5 properties and then rent the others, live in one. So at least in your growing age, you don't have to be burdened you don't have to burden your children asking for money for medication. Just sell one. After 10 years, sell another one. After 10 years, sell the third one. So at least you have good cash coming in your golden years and retirement years.
Got that. But to make sure also that property is rentable.
Yes. Okay, talk about rentable. Right now, they say there's a glut because there's like thousands and thousands of units. This is a friendly advice. If you have a unit, make sure you paint it well, put in good furniture, and you'll be ahead of the market. Because some people, what they do, yung old property na mula sa probinsya, from the province, they put it in the brand new unit. So what happened is, what looked like a brand new unit looks now like a 10-year-old unit.
Yes.
So, it doesn't have to be fancy. Just make it elegant, timeless. and beige. No funky colors like pink, orange, or that. Just make it tastefully done, and you'll be sure it will be easy to rent.
Yeah, very interesting. Same advice actually that Carl D gave earlier. Sometimes you've got to put good furniture in the place that you're renting. And don't put the used furniture over here because you got to show your best.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then finally, what's your advice now for entrepreneurs? Given all the experience that you've had over the years that you've learned, what do you want to share with people also starting on their own businesses, running their own businesses?
Yeah. Okay. You always have to be hungry. You always have to educate yourself because right now it's an ever-changing landscape for the real estate industry. Like even if I'm 25 years in the industry already, I still think there's still a lot to be learned out there. There's still a lot of technology. Earlier we were talking about AI. We got left behind because the younger generation, they're more savvy in doing videos, in doing so it's always the quest for self-education. And of course, the hallmark virtues of honesty, integrity, and dedication.
Got that. And with that, for people who want to become part of the Remax family, let's just tell them again how we can join Remax.
Yeah, just send us an email at eddiesantos@remax.net. Or you could go to our website, www.remax.ph.
Yeah, and with that, thanks so much, Eddie Boy.
Thank you, RJ.
What a great conversation. Congratulations, 25 years and 100 more to go.
Yeah. And I'd like to say this as a parting word. RJ, we've been friends about, 40 years? And I mean this, you're probably one of the hardest working persons I know, really. I see you in church giving communion. I see you mentoring your son. Today, we're at a podcast. The other day, we were at a gala function in Shangri-La. God bless you, RJ.
Okay. Well, God bless you. I need to work as hard as you. Thanks so much, Eddie Boy. Thank you, man.
RJ.
Thank you.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.